Our next section is about polynomial division. And actually, before we even do anything related to pre-calculus, I am going to start with a long division review of elementary school stuff. So we are going to be dividing 1672 by 6. And just start by recalling that this 1672, which you'll see under your division sign, is called our dividend. The 6 is called our divisor. The answer that you get from that actually is going to be our quotient. And you might also have a remainder. So let's go ahead and do this problem. We're going to start by doing 16 divided by 6, which gives us 2. And then we're going to do 2 times 6, which gives us 12. And from there, you have to remember that you're going to change the sign of the 12, make it minus, and that is going to give us 4. From there, you have to move down your 7, bring it down. And so then you're going to do 47 divided by 6, which is going to be 7, but you'll have a little bit left over. When you multiply 7 times 6, you get 42. Once again, change your sign, make it negative. That's going to give us 5. Bring down your 2. We do 52 divided by 6, that's going to give us an 8. And we end up doing 8 times 6 gives us 48. Remember to change your sign again. And we end up getting a remainder of 4. So my answer is going to be 278. This is my remainder. And my remainder is 4. You may or may not have done this part in elementary school, but what's going to happen is the way that you would write this out would be 278 plus 4 over your divisor. This is the divisor. And this was my remainder. And so I would actually have 278. This 4 over 6 is 2/3. That would be my answer for that. So I'm hoping you remember doing stuff like this when you were in like 5th grade, maybe 5th or 6th grade. But this is going to be the basis of all polynomial long division. So this type of division problem actually is going to use the exact same steps that the previous one used. It's just going to be a little bit more complicated. So we're going to set it up in the same way. Our 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4. Once again, that's our dividend, and it goes underneath my division sign. My x minus 2 is my divisor. It goes outside. I might have a remainder, and don't forget that the answer that I get is called my quotient. So those terms are the same as what you saw when you first learned how to do long division. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start by taking the highest term of our dividend and dividing by the highest term of the divisor. When you do that, you will get 6x squared. And you're going to put that over the 19x squared. So that's going to be the same degree term. So remember, we get that by doing 6x to the 3rd over x. Once you do that, then you are going to multiply 6x squared by your entire divisor, which is going to give you 6x to the 3rd minus 12x squared. So in case you want to write down what you're doing there, you are doing 6x squared times your divisor, which is x minus 2. So then, if you remember back to the original long division example in the beginning, you do have to change the sign, you do have to subtract. So what's going to happen is the 6 x to the third is going to become a minus. This minus 12x squared is going to change to positive. And when you combine these, the 6x cubes cancel out, which is what we want. If they don't cancel out, you made a mistake. And then we end up getting negative 7x squared. From there, we are also going to, this should have an x there, by the way, bring down the plus 16x. And you're now going to repeat what you did there. So I am going to start by doing negative 7x to the second divided by x. And that gives me minus 7x. So if you want to write this down, this is negative 7x squared over x. You are then going to multiply the negative 7x times x minus 2. And that's going to give you minus 7x squared plus 14x. Again, you're going to repeat what you did before and change your signs. We end up getting 2x, bring down your minus 4. So then we are now going to do 2x divided by x, which is a positive 2, so I'm going to write it as plus 2. And your final thing you do is you multiply 2 times x minus 2. And actually, what you're going to find is that everything cancels out. You get a 0 remainder. So my answer is just going to be 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. So this problem looks a little harder and different because it's written as a fraction, but just know that this is the same thing as what we had in the previous problem. They just wrote it in a different way. Also, another little thing, if you see something like this, actually what you can sometimes do is you can see if your dividend can factor. If that can factor and you get one of your factors is the same as your divisor, that actually cancels out. So that's another little trick that you will occasionally use. Unfortunately, this one we can't use that trick, but it's something to keep at the back of your mind. So we are going to be doing the same thing that we did before. There is going to be a small difference in the beginning, and that is that I have no x squared term. So I'm not just going to leave it out. I'm actually going to put in a placeholder of 0x squared. If you don't do that, you're going to get something really, really off. So be really careful about doing that. Once you have that, it's going to follow the same process as the previous one. I'm going to go a little bit faster this time. So I'm going to start doing x cubed divided by x, which gives me x squared. Then I'm going to multiply back. When I do that, I get x to the third plus x squared. I'm going to change my signs, which gives me minus x squared. Bring down the positive 3x again. So now I am going to do negative x squared divided by x. That is going to give me minus x. And now I'm going to multiply negative x times x plus 1, which gives me negative x squared minus x. Again, you're changing your sign. So these both become plus. That gives me 4x. Bring down my 5, so I have plus 5. Then I'm going to do 4x divided by x, which gives me plus 4. And now I'm going to multiply 4x times x times 4 times x plus 1. That gives me 4x plus 4. Finally, I change my sign, subtract things out, and I actually have a remainder this time, a remainder of 1. So if you look back at the very first problem that we had, the elementary school one, although you might not have done that in elementary school, we wrote this as a fraction. We wrote our remainder as a fraction over the divisor. So our final answer here is going to be x squared minus x plus 4. And then we're going to write our remainder as plus 1 over our divisor, which is x plus 1. So this is going to be my final answer there.